Hi everyone, I'm Brian Krinke. I'm the violin viola professor at Colorado Mesa University and also the orchestra conductor here. I'm here in my office at the university. I wanted to play these excerpts for you and maybe give you a few tips that could help you as you work on them for your all-state audition. So that was the section from the Brahms C minor symphony, and then part of the slow movement from Mozart's 39th Symphony. So these two excerpts show a lot of contrast in style, and it's important to show that different style. The Mozart takes a very calm, fluid bow, and the Brahms takes a lot of speed and energy in the bow. So let's talk about a few spots in the Brahms first. I think the big thing in the Brahms is that even though it's a very energetic piece, you want to keep a nice singing sound, because if it's too hard, if your tone gets too harsh, then that's not really something that we want to listen to when we're listening to auditions. So even when it's energetic or even when it's fast, you want to keep trying to get a really ringing sound. So what are the ways that we get a ringing sound? We check our contact point. So not being too close to the bridge, but not being too far away either. We want to get a lot of energy in that sound. Even with strokes like that, where we have to stop the bow. Do you see how I use a lot of bow on those long notes? I don't want... Do you hear how that's kind of a harsh sound? I know we all get a little fearful when we go up high, but when we're up high, the string is very short, so we just need to keep that ringing sound, keep the bow moving across the string in a nice straight path. And when we get to all of the fast stuff, again, we need to keep that contact point. It's very important. All of these bowings, you can just practice on an open string to get your bow ready. So keep a nice simple bow, just opening and closing your bow arm. And that will get the cleanest sound. So we have good contact, and we just move this part of our arm back and forth. Right? So, good sound, good bow. We had the big ringing sounds at the beginning, then we had those fast notes, and then the end section of the excerpt, we have to have a very, very flowing bow, but quick. So if you watch again. So I have to use a lot of bow so I can have a nice quality of sound. I want enough air in the sound. If I don't use enough air in the sound, my sound gets a little hard, and it's the wrong character of the music, because it says in the music piano and dolce, so sweet sound. So having a very fluid bow arm and nice soft bow hand will help that section. And the last thing I'll comment in the Brahms is that dynamics are always very important in any excerpt you play. So we have fortissimo, you see I just used the entire bow for that. And then we have sforzandos. We want to make sure that the sforzandos stick out, not the extra staccato eighth notes. So that's why I use an up bow on those extra staccato eighth notes. Right, so just a quick lift and get to your down bow. Quick lift and get to your down bow. And when we have our quiet section at the end of the excerpt, we're marked piano. Crescendo. Little by little louder. So we have a long crescendo. We get louder bit by bit. We let our arm get a little heavier. And then we have a sudden piano. And the bowing that I use, I'm at the frog. So what can I do to be very piano at the frog and get that delicate sound? I just suddenly really lighten my arm and move very quickly. And for all of these bow strokes, we have to have a very flexible bow arm to go from the frog to the tip very quickly whenever it's needed. So I hope those tips are helpful a little bit in the Brahms. There are also some tricky fingerings in there. I'm happy to supply some fingerings if those would be helpful. You can always be in touch with me. For our other excerpt, it's a little bit more straightforward. There are not so many different things happening in this excerpt, but like I said earlier, the delicate sound is super important. So we have our delicate sound, then we have our rhythm, because I've listened to this excerpt in many auditions, both for students and for professionals, and a lot of people don't do the rhythm real well. That's a lazy rhythm. That turns it into a triplet. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, and that's not what Mozart wrote. So we need, even though it's delicate, we need those 30-second notes to be a little bit snappy. Do you hear the difference? They come a little bit later and quick. So that goes through the whole excerpt. That's really important, because if we don't have the rhythm right, then the rhythm can be off for the whole thing. And you don't want your adjudicators listening to that and hearing the whole thing over and over again, the rhythm not right. And the third thing that's really important is just phrasing. If you look at the shape of the music on the page, you can see what you should do with the phrasing. When the music goes up, the volume rises a little bit, and when it comes down, it goes down. So that's always a good place to start with figuring out with dynamics when you have a whole page just marked piano with no crescendos, no diminuendos. You know you can't just play it flat with no dynamics. You have to still give the shape of the phrase. Just like when you're speaking, you try to give the shape to show what you mean when you're talking to someone. So this first phrase, again, starts quiet. Then it rises. And finishes very delicate. And we get back quick to try to start again as delicately as possible. We have to get there quickly so that we can have time to prepare the next down bow. Last tips on this excerpt have to do with the dynamics. This is our high point. Then we do it a second time, so we make a little echo out of it. Can be nice. And then we're back like the beginning. And now here's the surprise. It's in minor. So we want an even more delicate sound. My suggestion is you go out to the fingerboard and move the bow a little quicker. So I hope some of these tips have been helpful. Again, I'm the professor at Colorado Mesa University in Grand Junction, and I'd love to hear from you. If you have more questions about this excerpt, or about fingerings, or about other music-related things, I'm always here and available to try to help students. Thank you.